Live from the StreamYard studios in Lake St. Louis, Missouri, it's Between the Lines with Rob Reynolds. Today's episode brought to you by Compass Health Consultants. We've got a plan for you. Give us a call, 636-734-8444. And now, Between the Lines. Good morning, friends. How are you? This is Rob here. Today, I've got a really special episode that I want to bring to you, and it talks about the road warrior. Well, I traveled for like 23 years, and that's not to say I didn't have my share of funny moments along the way. Of course, I want to share a couple of those with you. Now, to kind of set the stage a little bit, I had about 3 million air miles that I accumulated over the years, and that's just on American and TWA. There were other ones that were on other airlines, but I tended to go with that one because they were St. Louis based and easy to get a hold of. And I got to travel the entire United States, Alaska, Hawaii. In fact, I got to go to all 50 states during that period of time. Uh, some of the things that I remember distinctly was that I would travel because I had the time to do that, and sometimes my plans were flexible. Well, I didn't mind going to Los Angeles via Dallas because it was double miles, or going to Dallas via Atlanta. I mean, all those things didn't bother me because I was road warrior. Well, let me tell you the first time I remember, and that kind of taught me or gave me a warning that this might be kind of a challenge. I was on a flight from Grand Rapids to Chicago, and we were probably connecting to go somewhere else. But it was rough. I mean, we were all over the sky. We did everything but turn upside down on that airplane. Well, I mean, guys with 9-piece suits and fancy ties and shiny shoes. Why, they were throwing up like you couldn't believe in those little white bags, me included. And I never got sick, but I happened to on this flight. Well, we got to Chicago. You know how the flight attendants there by the door. Thank you, come back, fly with us again. Thank you. We enjoy your flight. Thank you. Well, I had the little white bag. I gave it to her, and she said, "Thank you for flying." I said, "Well, here, thank you for having these." And she looked at me like, "What are you, some kind of a weirdo?" I thought, "No, I'm just trying to help you out so you don't have to clean this up." I said, "If the truth be known, there's probably 57 other white bags you could get handed to you." Got to think of that customer service. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about was sometimes you run into some perks. I was in Little Rock, Arkansas one time, and I remembered that the week before I was there, Billy Graham had a crusade there in Little Rock. Well, there aren't a lot of 5-star hotels there in Little Rock. So I thought when I got up there, I said, you know what, I'm going to see if Billy stayed here and just kind of, I could say I stayed where Billy stayed. So I asked the front desk, I said, "Hey, where did Billy stay for that crusade?" "Right here." I said, "Really? Where did he stay?" She said, "Well, he had a suite." And I said, "You have an upgrade. Would you like to use it?" I said, "Why, yeah. I've always wanted to say that I took a shower in the same shower as Billy Graham." I looked the room over, looked at the little Bible, thought maybe they'd been replaced by a Billy Graham Bible instead of a Gideon Bible. But all the soaps were the same, shampoo was the same. Uh, there wasn't a cross on the door or nothing like that. But I did get to say that I've been in the same hotel as Billy Graham. Not only been in there, now that's just everybody, but I'm talking about stayed in the same room. That's a big deal. Another thing that I did one time is you drive a lot. Once you get to place on the airline, you're a road warrior. You drive in a lot of rental cars. Well, I had to go from Arkansas down to Louisiana, and I thought, oh, I just hate this drive, mainly because the roads aren't very good, and it's just one speed trap after another. So they always told me if you get stopped in Louisiana, you be very, very cordial. So I got stopped in Louisiana one time. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was heading down to a sales meeting, and this guy came up to the window, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to be really nice to him. I rolled down the window. He said, "Sir, did you know you were speeding?" I said, "No, I didn't." But I tell you what, you got the shiniest shoes I think I've ever seen on a policeman. No response. I said, and further than that, those glasses you got on are the most mirrored things I've ever seen. So you got mirrored glasses and shiny shoes. I mean, I bet you that belt you got on there is really good too. I bet it's just shiny as can be. Well, I went on and on commenting, man. He just finally said, "Sir, I'm not impressed. You're going to get a ticket. Don't worry about it." So then I hurry up because I don't want to be late. You can only be so nice. Another thing that happened, I was on my way to Los Angeles. I was sitting there in the flight, and I got to upgrade because I had a lot of miles. And good night, first class is better than the other. Not because of the food, not because they give you free drinks, because I didn't drink anyway, but because of the room. Let me tell you. Well, I was sitting there in the seat, and beside me was a whole seat. I said, "What's that all about?" I mean, no one came in to take it. Finally, about 2 minutes before we took off, this guy came in with a German Shepherd on a leash. And he jumped up in the seat beside me. He said that he'll be your partner on the way out to Los Angeles. He's going out there for a meeting. I said, "What?" I mean, here I'm trying to look important, and he's going out there for a meeting, a German Shepherd. So, they're not doing to be paid. They've flown side by side with a German Shepherd. Now, there's a lot of things that happen too if you have to fly the red eye home. And I like to do that from the West Coast. That way you got home at a decent time. You can, spend the rest of the day with the family and do whatever you need to do. But one time I was coming out of, I think it was San Diego or somewhere, and we had to stop in Phoenix. Well, we stopped in Phoenix, and I heard this rustle in the back. I thought, "Oh my gosh, it seemed like a tussle going on back there." And I looked back there, and they had this guy in a bag. He looked like a moth trying to get out of a cocoon. He was just really fighting, trying to get out of there. Well, come to find out, he had got on the plane, stripped naked, and was running up and down the aisle. I didn't know that up there in first class, but I did when they took his body by. You just never know what's going to happen on those red eye flights. A lot of times you'd fall asleep, you'd wake up, and there was a guy holding your hand. Right? You've been sleeping. The only danger is when he's drooling. If he's drooling, that's it. I can take the leaning on me and putting your arm over there, but no, 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 no. I don't go with the drooling too much. And that happens from time and time again. One of the other things about being a road warrior is you have to kind of be careful of getting photographed when you're on the road, particularly when you're supposed to be working in Chicago and you went to the Cubs game. Well, this was back during the day when all the Cub games were on WGN. They played mostly afternoon games, and they were always, always on. Well, we went to the game. Me and this guy from Chicago, we were supposed to be working. Of course, we weren't. We were like going to the Cub game. So we got out of there, and we're going back to the car, and the phone rings. I pick it up, and it's my boss. He says, "Did you have a good time today?" I said, "Oh, yeah. Oh, whew. Them dish drillers were in a tough mood today. They really like those promotions, though." I said, "Why'd you like those calls on home plate? I saw you sitting there the whole time." So the rule number one is, if you're going to go to the ball game, be sure that you're not sitting where the camera is on you throughout the game, because if you're supposed to be working, you're in deep trouble. Well, let me tell you two more stories. One has to do with the trip to New York. I know I've talked about those before, but this one was one of the first ones that I ever took. And I had a really good friend that was a distributor out there. And he said, well, come on out. I'll pick you up. We'll go get sushi. I said, really like, oh, come on. You like it? I said, no, I really don't think I'm a sushi fan. So we went to this place in Brooklyn, and he ordered, of course, for me. And I said, I'm not fond of this. So he says, "Oh, here's some water. Drink this with it." So I was drinking the water and trying to gulp down the sushi and drinking more water and eating the sushi. And I said, "Well, wait, I don't really like it. I think I'm full." I just got getting fuller and fuller and more full. And that sushi just started backing up and backing up and backing up. Well, I got to about the third order. He said, "How you feeling?" I said, "Well, I feel like I'm gonna," and I just lost it all over the counter. He looked at me like, "Well, what's the matter with you?" I said, "Well, I told you that like sushi." We didn't go back and have sushi anymore. Well, I have to leave you with one more. This is my all-time favorite, mainly because it is so unbelievably funny. I'm driving along back to the airport from Dallas, and I'm going through downtown where the expressways are zooming by, and there's 6 or 7 lanes trying to get out and back out to the airport. And I'm driving a rental car. Happens to be a Hertz car, but that doesn't matter. So I get right in the middle of downtown Dallas. The expressway is going 15 different ways, and cars buzzing by me, and my car just boom conks out. I mean, not just stalls. I mean, conks out. I'm in the middle lane. Cars whizzing around me. I'm dead stopped. It's not smoking. It's not doing nothing. It's just dead. So I got in the glove compartment, got out my handy rental agreement, and called the emergency number. They said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Yes, this is Mr. Reynolds. I seem to have a problem with my rental car. I'm kind of stranded in the middle of I think it was Interstate 35." They said, "What mile marker are you at?" I said, "No, I'm on I-35." Well, no, we mean what exit? I said, "No, I'm on I-35." Cars are whizzing around me. My car's sitting here. They're looking at me. They're flipping me the bird. It's not a good situation. Somebody's got to come and get me. Just a minute. So he leaves and he come back and he said, "Sir, I don't think you understood totally. We need to know exactly where you are." I said, "Well, maybe you ought to put on the news because I think there's a news copter flying over me as to where I am." Well, then about 5 minutes later, here comes some cops, and some cops were behind me and they were surrounding me, kind of to keep those other cars from running over me. And the one car that had the cop got out. He came up and he said, "Sir, do you know you're in the middle of the expressway?" I said, "No, no. I thought I was in a car wash." "Of course I'm in the middle of the expressway. You think I'm out here for nothing?" He says, "Well, how can we help you?" I said, "Well, you can take me to the airport. I'm about to miss my flight." He couldn't help but keep it together. I said, "No, I'm not kidding." He says, "I'll call a tow." I said, "I don't need a tow truck. I need to ride to the airport." So I got in the back of his police car. He put me in the car, and there we went out to the airport. I got out, jumped out, and went in, caught my flight, and went home. That night I called, and I said, "Yeah, I didn't have to pick up a car off of Interstate 35." And I could hear, "It's him on the back." And she said, "Oh, it's you." Well, needless to say, I went with Alamo next time I went to Dallas. Well, folks, it's been fun. I hope you smiled. That's my whole deal. If you smiled, if you laughed, if you just got down in a belly laugh, I really thought that was what my goal today was. So it's that time again. It's the end of the line, and it won't be long until we will be back online with Between the Lines. So enjoy your day. Have a great day. Keep smiling. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.